A former vice president of Nigeria and presidential standard-bearer of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, on Wednesday said it was time to move on from a crisis that had rocked the party in the last few months. Atiku was reacting to the withdrawal of support from his campaign council by a group of party members led by Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. Before this time, a former deputy national chairman of the Southwest Caucus of PDP, Chief Olabode George, alongside other stakeholders in the party, had warned that PDP would likely lose the forthcoming elections if the grievances of its members in southern Nigeria are not immediately addressed. According to him, the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as the party's presidential candidate, as well as Nigerians Ayu's position as national chairman, has altered the equitable distribution of party offices between the north and the south.
Well, in May this year, we elected our presidential candidate in the person of His Excellency Alhaji Abubakar, setting aside the principle of rotation as enshrined in the constitution of our party, in the interest of peace and unity of our party. Today, we are in a situation in which our national chairman is from the same zone as our presidential candidate. Our party members from the south are now asking the following questions. Patently, 1, have we thrown our integrity to the dogs? 2, how will Southern PDP leaders convince their electorate to vote for our candidate when there is no substantial national position in the Southwest? 3, how can we go into election season with this type of division and expect to win the February 25th presidential election? The office of the national chairman must come to the South before we commence the presidential campaign, if victory is to be secured in the next general election.
Chief Olabode George now joins us on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Always my pleasure.
Well, let's start off with Atiku Abubakar's reply. He says he cannot force Mr. Ayu to resign and that as a committed Democrat, everything must be done in accordance with the party's constitution. What do you make of his reply?
You know, it's most interesting, very, very disheartening to listen to his response on our request. You know, what we did to allow our candidate to contest, we had to set aside a very salient part of our constitution. Section 7, subsection 3C states, and is still current, that we must adhere to the principles of zoning and rotation of party offices and elective offices in the country. And if that is the case, for purposes of oneness, for purposes of unity, for purposes of ensuring that every part of this country is recognized, we set aside that. Because if you look at it, President Buhari, is he from Anambra State or is he from Lagos State? He's from the north. The founding fathers realized this unnecessary friction that had germinated so much mayhem in Nigeria. They decided that let us divide Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones, so that the friction that sent us to the canvas in the First Republic, Second Republic, where the majority had their way and the minorities were just onlookers, same in the north and same in the south. To avoid that in going ahead in 1998, these founding fathers got together and decided that, look, let us divide Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones: northwest, northeast, north central, southwest, southeast, south-south. And then they came up with 6 top positions The 6 top positions will mean that every zone will go home with one of these positions. And having conceptualized that and having enshrined that in our psyche, we are saying now that didn't matter, because what we did to allow him to contest that particular section of the Constitution still subsists. You are telling us now that, because you have now emerged, then it doesn't matter. We should go and forget it and roll on. Roll on what? What is good for the goose is good for the gander. I am not a tribalist, but our party was established, was formed on the principles of this tripod: justice, fairness, and equity. It's a three-legged body.
Yes, Chief.
That stabilizes our platform. And if we continue to say it doesn't matter, let us go. How did you emerge? How did he emerge? If we didn't put that particular section aside, there was no way he would have contested. And having done that, what I expect him to do is to say, okay, let's come to the same table like he was when we had this revisitation committee of the zoning report. Let us meet. Let us look at it. You are telling Nigerians you are a unifier. A unifier is a man who will get round the table, not tell us, let's go ahead. What we are assuming is that you are throwing us under the bus. It's not acceptable in political scenario like Nigeria. No.
Chief, we understand, and thank you for that. Steps forward now is the question: if the national chairman does not step down, or actually if he does step down or is removed, can you clarify for us who will step in? Because some are saying that his replacement will be another northern candidate, and that just doesn't it doesn't satisfy this equality position that we are in. Is that true or false? Or will a new national convention have to be reinstated in order to elect another?
You know, when people, there's nothing that is fixated. We are looking at a scenario where there will be justice, fairness, and equity. The founding fathers, remember, divided Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones and also came up with 6 top positions. Now, if number 1 is the president, number 2, vice president, number 3, senate president, number 4, speaker, number 5, the secretary to government, and number 6 is the national chairman. So there's no way number 1 and number 6 can be from the same zone. Having said that, because of the peculiarity of how he himself emerged, we had to, purely on moral suasion purposes, purely on camaraderie, we decided that, okay, because for the last 6 months, the party itself, the zoning committee then did not announce where the zoning of the presidential candidate will come from. And they appealed to us, and we listened to them, that in the interest of the party, we set that particular piece aside. Now, we have come to another very crucial part. We are asking Nigerians Ayu, he himself, publicly and patently stated that if the presidential candidate emerges from the north, I will resign. Now, here we are, going forward. Can the individual ambition be bigger than the corporate ambition of our party? No. What we are saying is, let's balance this equation. Let's balance the equation by allowing this to happen. And if we do that, it is the same we, members of NEC, who will be part members of the National Convention. A decision will be taken. We are not asking him he must resign. What we are telling him is, in the interest, let him listen to his words. How do we convince our electorate in the South that what we are saying is, this is what we are bringing back home? You have gotten the ticket now for presidential candidate. So the same methodology that landed that on your lap should be the same that will give the South the chairmanship. We don't need to touch any structure of the party. Leave it the way it is. They've set up a national convention committee. Between now and the end of the elections, the party remains there, but they cannot be more active than the members of the national national campaign committee. That's all we are saying. You don't need to touch anything. The structure is there. In fact, there was another very, very serious mistake committed by them. One of the major functions of the national chairman of any political party is to lead the national campaign. You don't reduce that and allow a member to now preside on party functions instead of the national chairman. It's a major function for the national chairman. And if you have now taken somebody to be chairman of the campaign committee and now the national chairman as a sub-member, it is irregular. True. It is irregular. We are doing too many things in a wrong direction.
Now, Chief George, I'd like to take you up on a comment you made earlier. You said a section of the Constitution was set aside to allow Atiku Abubakar to contest. But I recall that a 37-man committee was set up to look at the issue of zoning, or of whether to zone or throw the ticket open. Now, Atiku Abubakar says he cannot unilaterally remove Ayu. And I do know that the National Working Committee has passed a vote of confidence in his leadership. The BOT chairman, Wali Jibrin, also resigned. Isn't it time, perhaps, for you to relent on this Ayu Must Go campaign in the interest of the party?
You think now, who are those people who are going to participate in the national election? Is it only PDP? Is it only PDP? This issue is beyond PDP. This issue is now for the electorate, and they are more in number than card-carrying members of our party. So you are now trivializing it. You are telling people, let's cover that up. They will open it. There is no secret in politics. So what we are saying, you are saying when it suits them, you bring that up. If it doesn't suit you, just drop it in the dustbin. No, that's not the way it is. We are going to the larger public. How come? When you started in 1998, you told us there are 6 top positions in the land, 6 geopolitical zones. Each zone will go home with something substantial. What are we carrying back home? What are we carrying back home? We must talk to the electorate. If it's a matter of we PDP alone, who will be voting at the national election, is a different ball game. You need to convince the other people. What are you going to tell them? More so, look at the issue of the presidential candidates from the other political parties. Are they not from the South? If we are now going to go by that arrangement, we must convince them that, okay, this was the reason why we took this decision, but in the interest of Nigeria, in the interest of the future generations, we are bringing back another very, very important position, national chairman of the party, who should be the chairman of the national campaign. Now we are going to the field. What do we tell the people? Very simply put, what do we tell them? What do we converse on? You have eroded the tenets enshrined by the founding fathers, and you are telling us, oh, let's forget it. And let me tell you something. If this had been that all the present issues were reversed, that all the chairman will come from the South, the presidential candidate will come from the South, would our friends, our brothers from the North, would they accept that? No. Justice is blindfolded. You see that lady of justice, when you go to the court, blindfolded. She has a scale and a sword. It doesn't matter who the hell you are. He will tell you the truth. And that is what we are saying.
All right.
If
Chief.
we were able, on pure moral suasion purposes, to have accepted that, okay, these people have been out campaigning and running, spending money in the last 6 months, we didn't take a decision whether it should be north or south. Oh. Right now, you are telling us, let's forget it. How? How? If it's been the north, would they accept it? I will still say the same thing to our people in the south. I will still say the same thing. Because, you know, he who comes to equity must be there with clean hands. As a unifier, one of the names you call yourself, you must be able to manage it. Don't tell us, oh, it's a constitutional matter, I cannot force you. It is not you forcing you. We are asking Ayu, because of the statement he made earlier, that in case the presidential candidate emerges from the north, I will resign. He knows. He knows the reason.
George,
he was part of those people
Chief
who started
Olabode
it.
George, for the sake of time, I must interrupt you. I just want to clarify that Nigerians Ayu actually came out to say that he made that statement talking about when the elections were over and the president was picked. But we'll move on to the discussions about the campaign council. Actually, let me give you a chance to rebut that, and then I'll ask you my question about the campaign council.
No, what Ayu said is very clear. He didn't speak in his TV language. He didn't speak in Yoruba. He didn't speak in Hausa. He spoke pure, clear English. If the presidential candidate of the party, that was before the convention, emerges from the north, I will resign.
All right.
This is pure English language.
Yeah.
So he can be doubling up, but let's set that aside. It's a statement of fact. And I'm happy today that Governor Udom re-echoed that yesterday when he said patently that your words will be your bond. If you are honorable, when you make certain statements, you stick by that. Don't be a flip-flopper.
No
Don't
flip-flopping.
start changing the goalposts during the match. Please.
Very, very well
Very
said.
simple.
Very well
And
said.
For the sake...
Yeah. I want to move to the discussion about the campaign council, Chief. I want to move to the discussion about the campaign council. It's been very clear ever since the primaries ended that Governor Wike was extremely upset with the way things happened at multiple parties. And we recently have learned that he is not happy with the campaign council in which him and a few of his members have been appointed to. My question now is, what are the implications of them refusing to be a part of this council? And also, was this a unanimous decision that was come about by those members? Or was it something that needed convincing or is it something that everyone agreed on? Is this a sentiment that is echoed by all the members who refused?
I spent 10 years of my life as a member of that management team, organizing, monitoring, and sustaining pure good management in the party. I was a member of the National Working Committee for 10 years. Now, never in the history of our party have I ever seen any member being appointed to be chairman of the campaign committee. What is the responsibility? One of the major functions of the national chairman is to head that committee. Because when you look at the ballot papers, you will not find any individual names on the ballot papers. You will find PDP. Who is the CEO of PDP today? He's Nigerians Ayu. He's to lead the campaign. But doing abracadabra, suddenly you made a sitting governor chairman of the campaign committee and the national chairman a member of that committee. It's an anomaly. It doesn't work that way. Okay, when you get to the campaign platform, who is to present the candidate to the people? Who is to give the flag, the flag of authority to our candidate? Is it not the national chairman? When you come to a state to campaign, who gives the flags to the governorship candidate and all the other House of Reps, Senate? Is the national chairman. So who is the one who signed the candidature to the INEC? Is the national chairman. So why are we pretending? Why are we now reinventing the wheel? No, it's not done that way. When you make one mistake, correct yourself. Otherwise, you will perpetually be making the mistakes, and it will not be in the interest of the members of our party. This has no tribal markings at all. The truth is the truth. Let us fear the Almighty God. Let's do what is right. Let's do what is just and fair. That's all.
No,
it's very wrong.
George.
And then they did not consult us. Yes.
We are hearing reports that 5 PDP state chapters out of the 6 southwest states have reaffirmed their support for Ayu. They've distanced themselves from calls for his resignation. Now, this was not Governor Seyi Makinde, who is the leader of the zone. That was not his position. So how united really is the southwest on this Ayu must go stance?
Look, you cannot but have dissenting voices when you get to this kind of scenario. What I am saying as an elder of the party is, let us do what is just, let's do what is right. Some minds, we have a saying in my part of the world, all of us cannot sleep and face the same direction. You know, you will still have people who will tell you, no, they agree with that because that's their own, like we say in the local parlance, that's their kabandaya. That's their own issue. But let them come out and debate. I'm talking because we are deviating, we are moving away from the norm, from the culture, from the stance of our founding fathers. In fact, you know what that means? It goes to show you that sometimes oral history can be faulted. People can start manipulating. What we will do after this is that if we must put these things down in writing and in simple English so that everybody will be able to read it. And it's very interesting, you know. We have other supporters from the north who are telling us, you must go. So in politics, once the majority decides this is what they want, fine. Even if at the very end they say, oh, it's not possible, we'll not do this, let it be recorded. Because history will have it that some of us stood up for what is just, what is right, and what is equitable. That's all. It's not a personal thing for me, and it will never be. But to stand on the path of honor, to stand on justice, fairness, and equity, these are the 3 tripods that the founding fathers set up. Most of these people you are talking about, who are they? They will tell you they are members of the party, they are this at the party. What functions? How much have they been exposed to the tenants? If I am lying, let them debate on issues, not on personal, emotional issues. How do I convince my people that out of these 6 top positions, this is what we are bringing home? None. None.
All right.
None.
Sir.
And simplicity, it's not a new thing in the world. No. Even during Baba Awólọ́wọ̀'s time, they stood against him. But in the end, many, many years, decades after, whose name do you hear? That's the essence of history. And I feel I'm not bothered about what those people are pontificating and saying, no, Seyi is not this. Seyi is not fighting for himself. Wike is not fighting for himself.
Right.
The presidential primaries are over. Let's face the facts. Let's rebuild our party. Let's strengthen this party. Let's unify the party so that every member will be very, very committed, going to the field and fighting for justice, fairness, and equity that have been lacking in this country. We are exacerbating the gulf between the tribes. That is not politics. That is politics. And it's not going to work.
Yes, sir. For the sake of time, once again,
it's politics.
Some might ask about the future of the PDP and the fact that this acrimony seems to recycle itself. If Governor Wike, well, some are asking if Governor Wike and a lot of the others were so desirous of Southwestern representation, then why was the former chairman, Uche Secondus, removed? Was this a case of personal interference gone wrong?
I don't look. That's all part of also history. That what do we have now heading to the general election? Look at the state of the country. Look at in every sector of human endeavor. Are we better off today than before? Nigerians are waiting for us. What we are saying, before we go out there, let's lay a solid foundation of our party so we can convince the people that we will be better managers of the resources of this country for the betterment of the people. Pure and simple. That is the essence of asking that please vote for our party. Charity begins at home.
Oh.
We are not telling, and Wike is not saying he's moving out from the party. You know, this kind of thing happened some couple of years ago. We were at the National Convention. Jonathan competed. Atiku also competed. And some of the other people also competed. At the National Convention, because the majority stated that they were going to vote for Jonathan at that presidential primaries, they walked out and headed to join another party. These present people who are saying this is not right, we are not telling you. We are irredentist PDP members, irredentist PDP members. But if we are, let us follow the dictates, the norm, the culture, as enshrined by the founding fathers. That's all we are saying, simplicity. Because what is good for the goose must be good for the gander. No, don't let us say, oh, if it's on your time, this or that. No.
Oh, Olabode George, thank you so much. Even though you didn't exactly touch on the Uche Secondus matter, but all the same, we do appreciate your coming on Newsday, and we wish the PDP all the best, especially as campaigns begin very soon.